So I'm going to start reading the book of Enoch. I've been wanting to really dive into this book for a long time. I've heard about it, watched like things on it on YouTube and read some things on it, but never actually read it for myself. So this is the start. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to read the foreword. The Bible, as we hold it today, is esteemed by many religious institutions, and especially conservative Christians, to be the inspired, inerrant Word of God. This doctrinal position affirms that the Bible is unlike all other books or collections of works, and that it is free of error, due to having been given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 16 and 17. While no other text can claim this same unique authority, the Book of Enoch is an ancient Jewish religious work, ascribed by tradition to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, that played a crucial role in forming the worldview of the authors of the New Testament. The Epistle of Jude chapter 1, verses 14 and 15, and is attributed there to Enoch, the seventh from Adam. The text was also utilized by the community that originally collected and studied the Dead Sea Scrolls. While some churches today include Enoch as part of the biblical canon, other Christian denominations and scholars accept it only as having historical or theological, non-canonical interest, and frequently use or assigned it as supplemental materials within academic settings to help students and scholars discover or better understand the cultural and historical context of the early Christian church. The Book of Enoch provides commentators valuable insight into what many ancient Jews and early Christians believed when God, who at sundry times and in divers manners, spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. As Dr. Michael S. Heiser, in the introduction to his important book, Reversing Herman, so powerfully notes, for those to whom First Enoch. For those to whom First Enoch sounds unfamiliar, this is the ancient apocalyptic literary work known popularly but imprecisely as the Book of Enoch. Most scholars believe that First Enoch was originally written in Aramaic, perhaps as early as the 3rd century BC. The oldest fragments of the book were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls and dated to roughly the 2nd century BC. This places the book squarely in the middle of what scholars call the Second Temple period, 500 BC to AD 70 AD, an era more commonly referred to as the intertestamental period. This book will use the more academic designation. The Watcher story of First Enoch, as many readers will recall, is an expansion of the episode described in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, where the sons of God came into the daughters of man. Consequently, the Watchers is the Enochian term of choice, among others, for the divine sons of God. While the story of this supernatural rebellion occupies scant space in Genesis, it received considerable attention during the Second Temple period. The Enochian version of the events of Genesis, chapter 6, verses 1 through 4, preserves and transmits the original Mesopotamian context for the first 4 verses of the flood account. Every element of Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 through 4 has a Mesopotamian counterpoint. a theological target that provides the rationale for why these 4 verses wound up in the inspired texts in the first place. Connections to that backstory can be found in the Old Testament, but they are scattered and unsystematically presented. This is not the case with the second, starting over. Connections to that backstory can be found in the Old Testament, but they are scattered and unsystematically presented. This is not the case with Second Temple Jewish literature like First Enoch. Books like First Enoch preserve all of the Mesopotamian touch points with Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. When presenting their expanded retelling of the events of that biblical passage, the Enochian retelling of the story, in turn, finds its way into the New Testament, most transparently in the books of Peter and Jude. But other New Testament writers do the same. Put another way, details in certain New Testament passages with links to the Genesis chapter 6 verses 1 through 4 episode can only be tracked to First Enoch, and those elements in turn are quite consistent with the original Mesopotamian context of Genesis chapter 6 verses 1 through 4. The Book of Enoch is therefore intended to be an important supplemental resource for assisting serious researchers and students in the study of the Bible and the early church age. So let's get started. Chapter 1. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angel showed me, and from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one which is for to come. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heavens of heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame, and the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and they shall be prospered, and they shall be blessed, and he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Chapter 2. Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds, and dew, and rain lie upon it. Chapter 3. Observe and see how, in the winter, All the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees, which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years till the new comes. Chapter 4. And again, observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it. And you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun. And the earth also burns with growing heat, and so you cannot tread on the earth or on a rock by reason of its heat. Chapter 5. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed, and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth for ever hath made them so. And all his works go on, thus from year to year, forever. And all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God hath ordained, so is it done. And behold how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks from his commandments. But yea, ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord. But ye have turned away, and spoken proud and hard words, with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish. And the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration. And ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names an eternal execration unto all the righteous. And by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and godless shall imprecate by you. And for you the godless there shall be a curse, and all the shall rejoice. And there shall be forgiveness of the sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all of you sinners, there shall be no salvation. That was kind of a difficult, I don't know. I kind of have to read that again. Hold on. It says, and for you, the godless, there shall be a curse. And all the, and then it's like ... shall rejoice. And there shall be forgiveness of sins. So it's like, okay, maybe I can point it out to you. It's right here. It says, where it says, and for you, the godless, there shall be a curse. And then it's like, and all the ... shall rejoice. But then it goes into, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all of you sinners, there shall be no salvation. So it's like it's going back and forth, talking to sinners, non-sinners, or sinners and sinners that repent, or whatever. So just bear with me, okay? Just trying to get a better understanding of this as I go along here. But on you all shall abide a curse. Oh, but on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and joy and peace. So who is considered the elect? That's what I want to know. Because I'll just keep reading. And they shall inherit the earth, and then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of the days of their life, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heavens, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, but I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders: Simyaza, their leader; Arakiba, Ramiel, Kokabil, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakijel, Azael, Amaros, Badarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsapiel, Sadariel, Turiel, Jamjael, Jiel, Sariel. These are not easy names to pronounce, so these are their chiefs of tens. I'm just going to read to chapter 10. Yeah. I'll read chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, and we'll stop at 10. Stop at the beginning of 10. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. It's good to be acquainted with plants, but I know that there's other things that they're referring to that probably were not very good. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood, like sacrificing, child sacrifice, or just any, sacrificing people. Makes sense. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. That sounds very familiar to nowadays. Oh, wow. And it just keeps going. Yeah. Simyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakijel taught astrology. Kokabil, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel, the signs of the earth. Shamsiel, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Because it's like now over time, consequences developed for that because of bringing the knowledge, but that knowledge brought on consequence of manipulation, corruption. I mean, because it was all based from self-serving, lustful purposes in the beginning, and not not being disciplined, I guess. That's what I'm getting so far. And so when they recognize this, they're seeing their own children die in front of them, which of course, because even though they committed a sin, their children still they were attached to. So when they start seeing their own children, even though they weren't supposed to procreate with the women, they start seeing their own children become eaten and consumed. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from the heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitant cries, the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. So now it's like we need to admit what we did, because it's something you just can't keep. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of gods, King of kings, and the God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Semyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, revealed them of all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended, and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. So it's like a lot of unrestful souls. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. And thou dost not say to us, what are we to do to them in regard to these? So we're going to leave it off there, and we'll start up again on starting chapter 10. But that's the beginning of Enoch. It got right to it. All right. Well, hope you guys are excited for this journey to read this book. I am. And I hope you have a good night. Peace out.